Hey, good evening. Yes, welcome to the Green Arcade. Thank you guys for coming down here. I want to thank Hilton Obenzinger for all the great things that he's done over the years. I want to start out by saying that we are respectfully acknowledging that we are based in Yelamu, the traditional unceded lands of the Ohlone people, and we pay our respects to the elders, past and present as well. So Hilton is a Brooklynite, Brooklynese, and he said he was raised in Queens. He went to Columbia University, and there's a book called, what's the book? Busy Dying, which is, I guess it's like a roman, a clef, but it's a fictionalized account of his rebellious youth helping sort of change the education system. Here it is right here. Thank you, Carol Merrill. And you also have been involved pretty much since that time in education and also in education reform, I would say. I'm going to take this off for the my little introduction here. And then he has taught on the Yurok Indian Reservation. You ran a community printing press here in San Francisco in the Mission District. And you co-edited publications about Middle Eastern peace. You actually have a book on Palestine as well from Princeton.
Yeah.
What is that?
American Palestine.
American Palestine.
Melville Twain and the Holy Land Mania.
That's it. And he also has worked on as associate director of the Chinese Railroad Workers in North America project at Stanford, which is just an astounding project. And there's some cool, we have some of the books that came out of that project, actually, I think. And because there was very little written back in the 19th century. And also, so tonight we are celebrating the publication of this book of poems called Witness, 2017 to 2020. Before that, he had this, I think this is one of my favorite poetry books, actually. And it's a Treif Pesach. And Treif means not good. But
unkosher.
Unkosher, let's say. And this was published by Ethereal Spear here in San Francisco, which is actually still going on. And an old acquaintance of Hilton's, Francesca Rosa, F.S. Rosa, who wrote a great book about Carlo Tresca. Anyway, we have a new book by her coming out really soon that was completed by our friends in Sirocco. And it is called Post-Traumatic Dress Disorder. And it takes place in San Francisco in the 70s, and it's about a couple of Vietnam vet drag queens who try to take over the world. In a certain way, this today Witness is a continuation of, I would say, fantastic observations and also wonderful rantings. I mean, I in a certain way, I would call this is a bit more ranty in a certain sense. But, just observing that the world we live in right now, and you got to witness it and express what we very often have been feeling. So anyway, thank you, Hilton, and I am going to put on my mask and turn it over to you, and I will try not to get in front of the camera. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll take my mask off. You can just see exactly how ugly I am. Not covered up. I had been writing over the course of, from 2017, Treif Pesach, unkosher Passover, ends at the beginning of the Trump reign. And I pick up where that left off in a way. And I was writing, observing different things, and then the pandemic hit. And I started much more of a journal-like approach, responding to the things as they were happening, and then the election, and then the uprising, Black Lives Matter, and all of these things happening. I came to the end. I decided, it says 2020, but I ended with the inauguration, and then after. And I felt like 2020 didn't quite end until Trump was escorted out. But we're not sure. There still may be 2020. It may be forever. And so I had to force myself to stop writing because I was on assignment, so to speak. And something happened. I'm going, I'd see films. I would see all kinds of things in my head, and so I decided I would take a break and end it there. The cover by Alan Sanoki, who is the abbot of the Berkeley Zen Center now. This is September 9th, 2020, when the Bay turned orange. Those of us from the Bay will know that day. And fortunately, it didn't happen again, not this year. But it was one of the most eerie days in my life and for a lot of people. So I'll read some poems from it. First of all, I need to say hello to people in Vermont, Ashland, London, New York, Albuquerque, the different places people said that they would tune in. And if you aren't tuning in, I guess you'll see the recording of it, as well as the people here in San Francisco. So this is a poem that I realized in some ways should have been the end. All regrets as surgery approaches August 26, 2018. I'm no Edith Piaf. I regret everything, and I will miss so much. Life on earth has its wonders, flowers and donuts, blessings of early morning air before all the wildfires greet us with waves of smoke. I will count my failures and give away my blessings too, and laugh. Thank you all. I never did accomplish anything. Some love and a little kindness, and that's pretty good. The book is dedicated or remembers three people. An old friend and poet, Les Gottesman, who passed away recently. Diane DePrima, another old friend, and of course, an excellent poet. And Corky Lee, who's an Asian American photographer, who sadly died of the virus of COVID. So I'm going to read a revolutionary letter in kind of honor of Diane DePrima, her revolutionary letters. October 5th, 2018. You're a Christian in Nazi Germany, and Jesus demands you disobey the orders for hatred and war, even as those around you laugh at murder. You're a Jew during the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. You know you will die, but at least a lesson will be delivered to the monsters. You're a Palestinian still holding on to the key to your home. Hold it for decades, ready to return, keeping steadfast. How many years will the people of Gaza be caged? How many years will the children at the border be caged? How long will they be stolen from their parents? It's 1939, Spain, and you're in the anti-fascist underground. Can you even think of life without the Generalissimo? Any day Franco will die, even if it takes decades. You're a slave in 1825 in North Carolina. Freedom is a dream, but dreams can't be enslaved. And you flee to the great dismal swamp where the slave masters fear to go. Your people have been driven from your homeland shedding tears along the trail for hundreds of miles, yet your people still hold together, ready to build beyond tears, beyond massacres, even though Andrew Jackson wants you to disappear, but you refuse. You're a woman raped by a rich college boy. Powerful men won't believe you, but millions do. You are not alone. You will learn how many women and men roar with disbelief and rage and begin to act. No one should despair, and everyone should despair. No one should fall in tears, and everyone should sob. No one should lose hope, even though hope eludes us. No one should mourn, even as we mourn our losses. Others have suffered, others have endured. Many have been murdered, many jailed, many ignored. Many have lived all their lives under the rule of hatred. We can't pay the price of freedom with credit cards. We pay for freedom with our souls, with our bodies. Get ready to overcome the horror. Get ready to fight like hell in open and hidden ways. Do not accept the orders for hatred and war. Get ready to survive. Outlast the reign of rapists, con men, and murderers. Surviving is the first road to freedom. Surviving is the revenge of the just. You too will survive. Thank you, Diane DePrima. She wrote a blurb on the book, which I find amazing. She says, he is a treasure, funny, surreal, radical. He is the American Jonathan Swift. Wow. I don't agree with her, but that's okay. Our social distance, this is at the beginning of the pandemic. Shutdown begins March 13, 2020. Stay away and be my love. We're so close together when we're so far apart. I take solitary walks with multitudes. I talk to myself, but mostly I hear your voice. We follow each other at a distance. Songs ring down empty, dark Italian streets. Windows of all the apartments fill with harmonies. Woody Guthrie is already singing the rambling virus blues. Bach has written a new version of the Corona variations. I can hear music winding through all the avenues, but there's no guitar and no piano in sight. We're all alone with each other. Keep your distance and make happy sex. Dance with each other in different continents. Everyone can be magnanimous and fart, and what our neighbors don't know won't hurt them. Let me be kind to you by way of internet, swimming through our brains. All alone, we can open our doors, yet keep away from each other as far as any of us can spit. So keep your distance and be close. Speak splendid poems and deeper wit. Stay away and be my love. You'll recognize this. The Great Toilet Paper Panic. April 1st, 2020. Suddenly, toilet paper becomes a star. Crowds chase rolls down the street like teenage girls chasing the Beatles in 1965. Panic sweeps through the land. A different type of virus. Without toilet paper, our rectums won't be clean, and civilization will devolve into a stinky rash. We discover our bodies because of the plague. We may die alone, drowning in our own phlegm, but now we notice the obvious precious flesh. We all share bodies. We all inhale and swallow and shit. With death silently circling around us, we reach deep into our sinews and bones as if we discover them for the first time, and we exult in our commonality. Queen Elizabeth shits. Taylor Swift takes a shit. Jeff Bezos squeezes out his turds. The homeless man on the street corner takes a shit. You notice it because he shits out in public. But you know there's a world of sphincters hard at work behind closed doors. Hand them all a roll of toilet paper. Wiping ourselves clean is a moral imperative. And we share the great fear that there's none left. We will be abandoned, left to rot on our own, making scatological jokes come true. So we grab all we can carry from the stores. We are afraid that our bodies will be taken away. We thought we were as solid as robots, but we are just soft bags of excrement, trying to remember who we are, trying to get a little comfort, trying to hold a small, sad piece of dignity with a thin square of paper. Well, this is somewhat along the same lines, more or less. God picks his nose. April 30th, 2020. God picks his nose and out comes a father or a mother, ready to be rolled into a ball and tossed into the void. A teacher has perished, unable to deliver the lesson plan. The mail is now delivered to sepulchres. The mailman himself finally gets off his feet, stretched out in his grave. Obituaries flutter like birds in the morning, singing stories of mechanics and artists, extraordinary lovers and ordinary neighborhood thugs. Every day more deaths, thousands adding up. The private hurt and the general horror, individuals dead, real people with real teeth and lips, each a palpable life filled with movies and food and standard issue hopes. A middle-aged son of a friend, a brother of another, whole families, the ER doctor who kills herself because she can no longer bear to witness deaths in the waiting room, in the front hallway, in the broom closet, everywhere. Like other battlefield soldiers, the doctor drops into the dark, bottomless foxhole. Yet some deaths seem to have a cause, a location, even a mailing address. When the passenger coughs into the face of the bus driver and 2 weeks later the bus driver dies, this seems to make too much sense. But others die plucked out of the herd, random selections abducted by microscopic UFOs with horns. There can be no herd immunity when there's no herd. Death with no contact and no apparent reason. People I know, others I would never know. An unbearable cascade that turns you numb. But then the tree begins to bear fruit. People of a small nation celebrate once again that Vietnam defeated a giant invader. Several divorces are decided, correctly. Some loves are examined and renewed, correctly. A kid stuffs a giant sandwich in his mouth. The sun feels good after chilly clouds. Charlie Chaplin knows how to smile. A pregnant woman laughs with gusto, and we can scold God for picking his nose. Keep your boogers to yourself, we tell him in solitary prayer. It's not healthy anytime, but now more than ever. God, clean up your act and let us live. Refuge enough. This is for Estella, my wife. May 15th, 2020. I look through the back door at my yard, like peering through a tunnel or a portal to another world. Before me, a patch of lawn with bushes and roses and a redwood tree. And beyond my fence, the railroad tracks with few trains and fewer commuters, traveling to yet fewer worlds between San Jose and San Francisco. And to the left, the edge of a tiny studio with memories and drafts of memories. This is my small refuge, and this is where I think of the wife I've loved for 45 years, touching and yearning from the first wet kiss, through all the heartache and misunderstandings, through surgeries and hard times and crazy kids. We knew the I Hotel and Beirut and other secret code words for tough struggles. We are so different, such contrasts and backgrounds, and after so many years, we still don't know each other. The virus seeks to kill us both, circling around our green patch, ready to pounce. Forced together as we await the monster, we have time to learn to touch again, to discover new continents in each other, to practice how to navigate oceans and archipelagos, to invent a new cartography of being close to harbors, to listen to old stories made new, to remember who we are and how we got here, to confess my love despite all the ways I have fallen short, how much I withdrew and forgot or became numb. I vow that I will be by your side no matter what we face next, no matter how much we and the world comes to grief, how the trains may carry us away to doom. I confess that I love you in ways that I do not yet know, and I may never know, but I will be by your side, learning to be the one who deserves your love, and that is refuge enough. Well, there are several things about the uprising, but here's one kind of, let me see. Well, here's, check back on May 22nd, 2021. May 22nd, 2020. Today is my birthday, May 22nd, 2020, and my parents come to visit. Sitting on the couch after arriving from the dead, they whisper to each other in Polish that I can almost understand, and they ask questions. Are you careful to hide from the virus? And they tell me a story I know well, the story of the rabbi and his wife, my father's cousin, how they hid in a farmer's attic for 4 years to escape the Nazis. So they asked, do you think you can hide for 4 years? For 4 months? Can you hide in the closet for even 4 hours? And then they bring up my aunt's feats of survival. Can you slide through the sewers to flee, the way your Aunt Zusha fled the Warsaw Ghetto? Can you even wash your hands properly? Do you know how to wear a mask? It's so wonderful to hear them, to feel their concern, how they nag me to steer clear of death, tell me that I need courage and luck, and how I must work for both to hide from the virus. I thank my parents and assure them that I will do all that I can to get to my next birthday. To live to see Trump driven from the White House, to watch my grandchildren graduate and marry, all the typical joys of home and family, to survive the planet's growing rage, to forage for enough food to live, and to keep a simple sense of justice. Check back with me May 22nd, 2021, to see if luck and courage bring me here again. It did. I'm here now. Okay. 401 years to find ourselves, June 6th, 2020. When Trump asks a general to occupy Minneapolis or Oakland, will he say, "Sir, no, sir, I cannot violate the Constitution"? Or will the general be made complicit in dictatorship? Can Trump get the virus to stand at attention? Can he get it to sweep the streets and attack only his enemies? Can the tyrant get the virus to tear up those pieces of paper that promise freedom? Troops with no insignias patrol Trump's world, but will the troops who come from our homes refuse to invade our homes? 401 years of slave patrols and shackles, but also 401 years of work and teaching and consciousness, 401 years of freedom rides. And at last, young people fill the streets, all races, all types, all hopes, all shouting with practical rage and impractical joy, learning the truth of America from those who know those 401 years too well. 401 years, and we've found us. 401 years, and we uproot the old plantation and the Indian fort. We transform the violence of settlers and masters. We take over our history and make an America that belongs to the continent with health and safety and pleasure and sustenance, each of us equal and magnificent and just and free and alive to inhabit all the streets with love. Oh, this one is a takeoff on Shelley's Ozymandias. A Juneteenth traveler from an antique land. Juneteenth, 2020. The marble pillar that holds a potted plant by my front porch is cracking apart, big crevices tearing the rock, falling to ruin and dust. So much for marble and immortality. No colossal wreck of Ozymandias, but I yet see vanity tumbling to the sands. And this crumbling marble announces that the time has come for America to split apart at the seams in order to reconstruct itself as something even more solid. Uncle Ben is now evolving, according to his corporate family, and Aunt Jemima is on her way out. Juneteenth is a holiday most people never heard of, but now it's slicing the month between Memorial and Independence. Awareness contrasting when emancipation was announced with the long delay before the message is yet to be heard. Corporations are now rushing to correct images they were too lazy to notice before. How many years before the country as a whole is free? Equality demands more than retiring corporate mascots. Justice demands that nothing of the wrecked plantation manor will remain. No master's sneer of cold command. Only shattered ruins will stretch across lone and level sands. No masks for the party of death. July 13, 2020. No masks for the party of death. They dance in crowded swimming pools. Their young faces are naked. The music pounds. They jump up and down in the water. Is this what the Bible calls flesh pots? The beer flows, the party's never done, and the virus is glad to join the fun. It snakes among its victims, a parasite looking to chew some lungs or chomp a heart. And worse is yet to come. Ignorant and stupid and arrogant, Trump allows the sacrifice of multitudes. The great leader demands that the kids go back to school while he tosses paper towels into the ICUs. But the strong man is weak against a bug. He can't insult the invisible. He can commute the sentence of his buddy, Weird Stone, but the virus won't commute his own. We need to survive. Hold on, as protest and providence and hubris bring him down. Okay, a couple more. And virus fires, August 28th, 2020. Giant fires burn all around us. Smoke wafts through the trees, and the sky is a grim metallic color. Thousands of lightning strikes set complex fires, multiple hits that spark and then combine and radiate in all directions. Santa Cruz Boardwalk roller coaster outlined at night by flames. Our lungs fill with ashes and disease. The president mugs like Mussolini, sucks safety and freedom from our veins. Will he still be drilling into our brains for years to come? The fires sweep across California. Huge hurricanes boil across the Gulf's hot water. Trump puts on his convention show, touting law and order and all is well. A black man shot 7 times in the back of Kenosha in front of his 3 sons. A white kid with a long gun kills 2 more. Hailed as a hero by too many. Flames of all kinds run wild in reality TV hell. Trump has found the Reichstag fire. The country hangs in the balance. Basketball players in their bubble refuse to dribble, and they weep. It's amazing to me why we keep loving this country and this country does not love us back. Millions produce chronicles, the outcomes of our grief. T-shirts with 7 bullet holes in the back, poems and diaries and photos and videos, testifying that this is the moment This is the time. We take note. We are aware. We watch the flames and furor embrace each other in love and horror and do what needs to be done. And two more. The plague chooses the Pharaoh, October 2nd, 2020. The plague chooses the Pharaoh, but the exodus has yet to begin. Trump is in the hospital. The smoke level is too high. Day after day, and my lungs flutter bronchial butterflies. Inhaling dense smoke inside my bedroom, fire circles around Calistoga and the grapes and hot springs of memory, while the disease floats across the country and the country floats across all of Pharaoh's delusions and lies, and the smoke drifts through our lives, yet we still remain enslaved. We could sing this in a prophetic voice. We could chant how the monarch has fallen because of his foolish, reckless swagger, how hubris found its match in the virus, and how the very high have been brought low by smoke and virus and Nazis. Such is the story of Trump, like a biblical admonition. Vanity is not the road to life, and creation wants the people to live. When he gets well, send Trump to California to sweep his forest floor. And then this is the last piece in the book, which I realize in some ways could have been the first. Some explanation. Witness, January 25th, 2021. After he was sworn in, we went out on our porch and shouted and whooped. Stella beat a Pueblo hand drum and we waved, hollering that Joe Biden is president. Nobody on the street, no one walking by. Maybe they were all watching the inauguration on TV. One of our neighbors had put up an American flag. Silence. But I know there's great joy in the streets around the country. I'm still suffering trauma from the sacking of the Capitol and 4 years of Trump's American carnage. Enough. Ordinary days to come, and still so many problems with so much disease, including the fever of an empire in decline. During this hard time, we witness all sorts of new phrases and behaviors. Social distancing, sheltering in place, dying alone. What was once unfamiliar and strange, flatten the curve, has become common, even banal, demanding a poem. Language has to keep up. We witness 4 years of Trump's reign, 4 years of troubles, shootings, wildfires, racial reckoning, planetary murder, plague, monumental lies, alternative facts, Me Too, an uprising for justice, and more. But a failed right-wing insurrection had to be the capstone of these terrible times, and the nation is not done yet. War has broken out between those who follow the text and those who follow the man, between the Constitution and the cult. There is hope, though. A new administration, but the way won't be easy. The virus mutates and the war over reality continues. Now follows a time of uncertainty and struggle. Fear and sickness mixed with love and joy, requiring another chronicle beyond these past 4 years. One final dream. I'm in a room and I suddenly realize that I own copyrights on all gaps of knowledge. Anytime there's a hole in what's known, in any field or practice or cosmology, I collect royalties. The gaps are innumerable. Ignorance is making me rich. I'm stunned. In my dream, I see Mark Twain, and he's proud. That's it. Thank you. And thank you to the Green Arcade. And I suggest, if you're not here today, come here to buy the book. this is the place.
Call us or write us.
Call us or write us. Yeah, everything. Whatever it is, huh? All right. Thanks a lot. Glad that people were able to come.